Hi, I'm Stephen Koprince, Managing Partner of Koprince Law, LLC. Welcome to the Koprince Law Reports. Today's topic, Women-Owned Small Business Certification and the SBA's steps to make that a reality. A year after Congress surprisingly eliminated women-owned small business self-certification, the SBA is now asking for public comment on how to certify women-owned small businesses. If you're not aware, Congress adopted a statute in December 2014 that eliminated WOSB self-certification for federal set-aside contracts. Before Congress took action, WOSBs could qualify for WOSB set-aside contracts in one of two ways: by self-certifying and providing some supporting documents to the WOSB document repository, or by obtaining a formal certification from a third-party certifier approved by the SBA. But with self-certification no longer an option in light of Congress's action and the third-party certifiers not universally well-liked, the SBA is considering other options for certifying WOSBs. In a notice published on December 18, 2015, the SBA acknowledges that the current law requires WOSB certifications and allows certifications to be performed by a federal agency, a state government, a national certifying entity approved by SBA, those third-party certifiers, or by the SBA itself. The SBA seeks public comments as to whether each of these four types of certifications should be pursued and whether one or more of these four types are simply not feasible. The SBA also requests comments on whether there should be a grace period after implementing a WOSB certification program to allow self-certified firms to become formally certified. Now, with respect to third-party certification, the SBA does acknowledge that 4 entities are currently providing WOSB certifications under agreements with the SBA. The SBA seeks public comment on a number of items regarding third-party certification, including how many third-party certifiers would be necessary to serve an entire community of WOSBs, and whether the SBA's regulations should include specific processes for becoming a third-party certifier. Of note, the SBA also seeks comment on whether a third-party certification should have an expiration date, and whether there should be a formal appeals process if a company is denied certification by a third-party certifier. My answer to that last question, yes, there should. Now, interestingly, the SBA omits any discussion about whether third-party certifiers should be able to charge for their services. In my experience, the fee-based aspect of these certifications is one of the most common criticisms of third-party certification. Of course, the logical question follows: if the third-party certifiers are not allowed to charge, what exactly is their motivation for providing the certification in the first place? Now, with respect to state governments and other federal agencies, the SBA states that its current regulations, quote, authorize SBA to recognize WOSB certifications made by states that have certified firms that are owned and controlled by women to be DBEs for DOT's DBE program. That's the Department of Transportation's DBE program. However, these regulations do not recognize any other state certifications and do not authorize other federal agencies to certify WOSBs. So that's the current status of the law. No recognition of other state certifications except DOT DBE, and other federal agencies cannot certify WOSBs. State certified women-owned small businesses, companies participating in a state WBE program, for example, have often asked me whether their state women's business certifications confer WOSB status for federal purposes. My answer has typically been, I'm not entirely clear on that, but my sense is that no, the state WBE certification falls under different state law, not 13 CFR Part 127. The SBA now seems to have answered that question in agreement with what I've been telling folks. No, unless the certification is under the DOT's DBE program, a state WOSB, a state WBE type certification does not confer federal WOSB status. Moving forward, though, the SBA asked for public comment on whether the certification authority should be extended to states generally, and if so, how that process should look. The SBA also seeks feedback on whether any other federal agencies can or should certify WOSBs. Again, no other agency currently has the authority to do that. These are interesting questions, of course, but count me as very skeptical that the SBA would voluntarily surrender WOSB certification authority to another federal agency. Finally, the SBA seeks public input on whether the SBA should set up its own internal WOSB certification program. This is the option that many women-owned small businesses would prefer. But, importantly, it's unclear whether the SBA has the resources to implement such a program effectively. In its request for public comments, the SBA notes that it has, quote, limited resources, and it asks for feedback on how to structure a certification program so that these acknowledged limited resources don't cause undue delays. These are the right questions and demonstrate that SBA is well aware of the potential administrative problems and delays that could arise if the SBA attempts to establish its own WOSB certification program without the resources to effectively implement it. Of course, Congress could solve this problem by appropriating the necessary funds for an internal SBA women-owned small business certification program, but I don't think anyone is counting on that. I am glad to see that the SBA is moving forward with addressing the elimination of women-owned small business self-certification. Hopefully the public comments the SBA is requesting will help the SBA make the right choices on how to implement a formal certification system. The SBA is accepting public comments through February 16th, 2016.